Hello and welcome to ConTinual. I'm your host, Gail Z. Martin, and tonight we're talking about Hold On to the Light. Now, the Hold On to the Light campaign was started several years ago, prompted by the Always Keep Fighting campaign from the Supernatural fandom and Jared Padalecki. But Hold On to the Light has attracted close to 200 authors, all stages and varieties of genres, talking about what's helped them get through tough times, how they faced all kinds of issues, from mental health issues to depression and self-harm and anxiety. And the whole idea of the Hold On to the Light campaign was standing in solidarity with fans to make fandom more inclusive and to reduce stigma and to show that the fandom family always has your back. So tonight, on a kind of special 2020 edition of Hold On to the Light, we're not going to go into some of those darkest corners, but you know, this has been a rough year for everybody. So we've got an author panel here talking about how we're coping, what's helping us keep rolling, where we may not be rolling as well as usual, and what we're doing about it. So first, let's have our panelists introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with Nancy.
I'm Nancy Northcott. I write historical fantasy for Falstaff Books. I've independently published several genres of romance, and with Jeannie Adams, I write the Outcast Station science fiction mystery series.
Darin?
Hi, I'm Darin Kennedy. I write paranormal thriller and contemporary fantasy. I'm mostly published by Falstaff Books. My latest book is Carol, which is my young adult version of A Christmas Carol, which is Scrooge meets Mean Girls.
And Tamsin.
Hi, I'm Tamsin Silver. I am also published through Falstaff Books. I write both historical fantasy and urban fantasy. I'm also self-published, and I also have a web series out called Sky of the Damned that I help direct, produce, and publish as well. And I live in New Mexico.
Cool. Theresa?
Hi, I'm Theresa Glover. I'm the author of the Caitlin Kelly Monster Hunter series through Falstaff Books, which is kind of a snarky, dark urban fantasy. And I'm also an editor at Falstaff Books.
And Tally?
I am Tally Johnson. I write true ghost stories from South Carolina. The newest book is Civil War Goes to South Carolina. And I also have a book out with Falstaff, Creek Walking, which is a Southern Gothic short story anthology.
And as Gail Z. Martin, I write epic fantasy, urban fantasy, steampunk, and more, including 3 series with Falstaff Books, co-authored with my husband, Larry Ann Martin. And as Morgan Bryce, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. So lots of good stuff out there. Folks, 2020 has been kind of a kick in the butt for, I think, everybody. What are you finding to be maybe the strangest part of 2020 when it comes to just moving on with daily living? Darin?
That all roads lead back to my house. I like to go to a coffee shop and write, or go grab a bite to eat out, or go and look at things. And I do most of the things that I used to do, but I go there, I obtain the necessary sustenance or whatever from that location, and I return to the exact spot where I am now sitting and consume said sustenance. I write here. I'm at my day job as I'm a family physician. I sit right here and call my patients all day, every day. I went and bought a bird feeder, which is right out there, so I can watch the squirrels, so that I will have other living things nearby during my forced quarantine by this nasty unpleasantness that is occupying our nation right now. And so it's the fact that I sit in this chair far more than I ever wanted to.
How about you, Tamsin?
I have a yelling cat. That's why I hit mute. Like Darin, I work in healthcare. I am one of 3 ops specialists who support all of the emergency medicine doctors who work in our ER in New Mexico for Presbyterian. And so I spend, like Darin, I spend a lot of time in the same seat I spend 8 hours and then I go and then I come right back. I have found it very difficult to write that way without a separation for myself of location. What used to be my creative spot is now my numbers and analytical spot. And so I actually bought a second like office chair, and I set up another way to work out in my dining room near my fireplace so that when I needed it, I could go somewhere else. But it's been, for me, it's, I'm like Darin, I used to go meet with my writing pals, and I would go out and we would spend Friday nights writing, and we'd meet on the weekends. And so it's been difficult in that regard, also because it just changed everything. It changed literally my entire process of my day because I don't go anywhere. I'm now to the point where I order my groceries for delivery because the pandemic numbers in New Mexico are so high at the moment that we are about to go into emergency critical situation. I know that one of our hospitals hit tier 3. So I've started pretty much not even going anywhere except my doctor's office or prescriptions. So it's been, but I did at least finally finish the book I was working on. So I will take my win where I can get it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Theresa?
Yes.
Well, there's a couple of things. One, like, I always used to joke about how, I'm kind of a misanthrope and I just don't like people in general, but I really miss a lot of random freaking people.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would actually miss, being around people, sitting in a coffee shop or whatever, but I actually do. And it's kind of weird. And then the other one is, I had a very convenience focused lifestyle before this. So, we would eat out quite a bit. And ever since I've been having, making dinner at home most nights, and I never realized how many freaking dishes you get from making dinner at home every single night. That's a lot of dishes.
I think one of the things I'm going through the most is stuff for my dishwasher.
Yeah. The automatic dishwasher we have busted, so I've been doing it all by hand, and it's just like, where did all these dishes come from?
Oh, no.
It's like the scene from Beauty and the Beast, except for the dishes don't come to life.
Exactly. Or they come to life and they multiply.
And they multiply.
Dishes, wash the dish.
How about you, Tally?
Well, my life hasn't changed all that much. I'm in South Carolina where our governor is a moron. I've missed a month off of work since everything started. We closed for 2 weeks back in March, and we had a positive test right before Thanksgiving. So I was off for 2 weeks while the girl waited for her results. But I'm going to work 8 hours a day, around half a dozen people, plus patrons that come in the library. And I'm like everybody else, I'm not as social as I thought I was, apparently, because I don't really miss that much. But going to Starbucks and riding with Alexander Christian, my wife, and different things, can't do that anymore. Biggest thing we do is we get out of the house, we go ride around, and occasionally I get to go camping with some cronies. But otherwise, like I say, and I haven't written hardly anything for the last year because of COVID and other stuff, but it's just been a year. Anna's harvest is what they call it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Nancy?
Well, I work at home usually. So the main difference for me is the things I do to take breaks from work have changed a lot. I can't meet somebody at the coffee shop. I used to go pick up my comic books on Wednesday because that's New Comic Book Day. And it was fun to hang out and talk to people about what they were reading and what they liked about it. And if they were reading the same thing I liked, how we felt about it. And the store is being very, very strict about masks and hand sanitizer and how many people they let in at a time. But I don't go on Wednesdays anymore. I go after I'm pretty sure other people have picked up their books and that there will be almost no one in the store, because then at least I can hang out for a few minutes and talk with the staff, and I don't feel like I'm keeping somebody else from being able to come in, and I don't get nervous because there are so many people around. And, you know, if somebody had told me that I thought 7 people was a lot of people, I would have said they were crazy. I mean, Dragon Con is a lot of people. That's 80,000 people. That's a lot of people. 7 people in the comic book shop, really not so much. And that's been one of the weirdest things, is just having to change that routine. I have a friend, I take her out for her birthday every year. For a couple of decades, we've been taking each other out to lunch on our birthdays. We didn't go out to lunch on my birthday. Next week, we're not going out to lunch on her birthday. We're going to do a drive-by passing of gifts. She's going to come out in a mask and pick them up. And I have not seen her in person since March. And she lives like a mile away. And so it's just really, really weird not to see the faces of other people. And I have this thing I've talked about on some panels where my college classmates, the women in my class, go to the beach every autumn. And I plan my whole year around that, because I always come back charged up from it. We have a great time. We're all really different, but we just kind of accept each other as we are and go from there. And it's a wonderful boost for me. This year we did Zoom, which was a half a loaf and certainly better than none, but it didn't have the, yeah, everything's great effect. So it's changed only one regular thing, and then it's cost me some occasional things.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've hit all of those markers. Larry and I work from home anyhow, so that part of it hasn't changed, but we did leave the house on occasion. And now I try to get as much delivered as possible. So our poor UPS guy, I mean, he's here every day, and sometimes it's groceries. And it used to be that only happened at Christmas, but now it's like, oh, I wonder if the potato chips are in that box, because you get everything shipped. You don't know what's coming. And so not going out, I did a lot of conventions before, you know, sometimes 14 or 15 in a year. And those were great social times, as well as a chance to meet readers and hang out with other authors and just go and kind of get my geek on. And it was fun and relaxing, and it was a change of pace. Well, you know, I did 2 this year plus online, because in March it all closed down. And I think one of the things I miss the most is my beach time. Is, you know, I always, like you were saying, Nancy, looking forward to going and getting together with your college friends. We had a couple of trips planned, and I like to just sit in a chair and stare at the water and maybe have my Kindle with me and zone out. And that's my permission to not like I have to do anything. And we couldn't go to any of the trips we had planned. So I never kind of got that permission to take a break. So yeah, it's just been a lot of the milestones that help you tell what time has passed and what part of the year you're in and what day of the week it is, are gone. I think that's one of the reasons the term Blur's Day came into being this year. But for me, it's just also, like everyone said, that lack of casual interaction with other people, and not feeling scared that there's a person who's coming toward you. Oh my gosh, there's a person. So that's just sort of weird. You guys mentioned it a little bit, but what sort of mind games are you playing with yourself to deal with some of this? And Darin, yeah.
It's funny that you asked that, because I was about to make a comment on yours, but it's also an answer to that question. Everybody's really excited about Jupiter and Saturn getting together at the end of this month. And I've been watching that a lot. But the convergence that I'm waiting to see is all of my neighbors order stuff constantly. And so far, we've had 3 of the 4 here together at once. We had USPS right out here, UPS up here, and an Amazon truck, but FedEx wasn't here at the same time. And so what I'm waiting for is the convergence of all 4 at once, because I think that opens up the gates, and then Gozer appears, Gozer the Gozerian, or something like that. I'm not sure. And
No,
then
you need DHL before Gozer appears.
oh my gosh, what if DHL shows up? That's going to be the freaking Kraken or something.
You know you're a nerd when.
That
Don't
DHL
give
is,
2020 any ideas, okay? Just
I have
don't.
not seen a DHL truck in the neighborhood in months, but the other 4 are here at least twice daily. I don't know what my neighbors across the street order, but they have ordered a lot of things. It's been fun to watch.
And you know, anybody who follows me on Facebook knows that our Christmas tree did a swan dive when the main pole up the middle cracked and just sent it right over. So, hey, I ordered a Christmas tree online, and our FedEx guy said, "Y'all are gonna kill me," you know, as he's hauling the tree up the stairs because it came in 2 gigantic. Y'all are just out to kill me, aren't you? It's like, well, no, we really like you, but thank you for the tree.
Well,
So what do you guys, you know, Darin's watching the squirrels. What do you guys, how are you dealing with this? I love that Tamsin commutes to different rooms. I've seen the post on Facebook that says I'm going to put a drink in every room in my house and go on a pub crawl. You know, how do you got to have a sense of humor with this. How do you talk yourself into feeling a little better about it? Tamsin?
I've started my neighbor and she's the one person I kind of see. She's my one person other than my new roommate. And we go walk every morning. And by the way, it was like 18 degrees this morning and I did that 1.5 miles. Dragging the dog with me because I'm like, you could lose some weight too. Let's go. So we're walking every morning for 1.5 miles, and on the weekends we're walking 3 miles each morning. I just before I guess partway, just as we were getting into everything in the spring, I met with the doctor and got all my hormone meds fixed. Like for once, people figured out I'm down almost 30 pounds, you guys.
That's awesome.
So thank you. So my focus has really been my mind game or whatever has been to focus on me, to focus on what I can control. And that's what I eat and if I work out and if I get in the exercise. And I put up Christmas decorations early to make my house feel more fun and festive, even though I really haven't shopped for a dang thing yet. But I mean, that's kind of been my thing is that I've just sort of tried to worry about what I can control. And I've also been, the other mind thing I've done is working at self-forgiveness. Darin is working on a 3rd book in a series right now, right? So Darin and I got stuck writing the 3rd book in an epic series during this time, because it's the hardest one to write in the 3 that you do, because you've got to tie up everything. You need to make sure it's epic. You have to make sure it's worthy of the first 2. You have to make sure that you don't miss anything and that it flows the way you want and that it has the feel you need and ends the dude, he gets it. And so I got stuck on a section I couldn't figure out, and I was really angry and I was having a lot of trouble. And I eventually just realized, you know what, you're the one that's angry. It's not your publisher. They understand completely. And so I just kind of had to start letting myself forgive myself for when I couldn't write. And over Thanksgiving weekend, I did get to see my mom. And when she left, I sat down on that Sunday by the fire and I finished, and it just finally was there. So, so now I will edit and get that turned in, but it took months when it shouldn't have. And I had to say, it's the hardest thing in the series. You're with a whole different way of life right now. And I just had to forgive me and like me anyway. And some of that helped with everything else I've been focusing on. So it all kind of ended up wrapping itself together to help me out.
Nice. Theresa?
Well, I've tried a bunch of different things and some work for a while and some have, their efficacy falls off. And so you have to try something new. And
Mhm.
part of it is just recognizing that, like Tamsin said, nobody's done this in a really long time. We're living through something that is not within recent memory. So it's okay for everything to be weird and not working right because everything is weird and not working right. And if that means, you have to constantly change up your routines to keep it fresh for you, if you need to establish a routine, whatever it is that works for you to get through the day, it's okay. And that includes, like, I got to the point where I'm thinking, okay, I'm home and there's 10 million things I need to do or should be doing, and I'm not doing them, or I'm not doing them to what I believe my standards should be. But then recognizing that my standards were pre pandemic.
Yes.
And the things that happen pre-pandemic are different than things that are happening right now, and adjusting that mindset. So, I started writing a to-do list that said a good enough list. My day was good enough if I did these few things, and I wasn't allowing myself to put more than 5 things on it. And really, I wanted to keep it to 3. But if I got through those 3 or 4 or 5 things, that was good enough. I could sit on the couch and watch TV, and I would be, guilt free in doing that because I got my good enough list done. And if I got anything else done above that, woohoo, yay me. That's a
Yep.
bonus because that's something that wasn't on tomorrow's list. So I think part of it is just being fluid and being willing to adapt to things changing, because every day, as much as it's the same, is a little bit different, and you got to be ready to roll with it and just be accepting of that.
I had 4 things on my list this morning.
You, Tally. Oh, yeah.
Make hair shorter, make less leaves in yard, don't forget to eat dinner, and get coffee first thing in the morning. And then fit number 5, be here tonight. So hi everybody.
High five.
There you go. You're like, psh. I got out of bed, I did my job, I remembered to eat, and I got some sleep. That's a win,
Yeah, you accomplished the day.
right? I solved problems for some doctors today and made their day better, so that's helpful.
And doctors of the world appreciate this.
Good.
And I mean, another thing that you can do too is like reaching out to your friends and checking on them and talking them through their issues sometimes will help you feel better, because it helps not only to put things in perspective, but also to realize that you're not the only one going through the crap, that there's somebody else who's got it just as much as you do. And maybe you can kind of gain perspective from what they're experiencing to help yourself as you help them.
Dude, when I heard that, Darin, I'm telling you, and Melissa told me that you also were stuck in the same spot, I was like, it's not just me. Is it? It's not. I mean, I'm telling you, it unlocked something for me to know I wasn't the only one hitting those walls, and for the same reasons. It was really
a message.
I didn't know you were working on book 3 of something. If I had, I'd been like,
I would have sent you the little meme where it goes, girl, same. Hey, Nancy, what is
I gotta say, I'm totally feeling it, because I'm working on the 3rd book in a series too, and it's just in my butt. I mean, I have never had this much difficulty getting the thoughts together to do the book. And so yeah, I totally feel you on that.
See,
Kelly, what's it doing for you?
Tally?
Yeah. Put
Gail
it
was
this
asking
way.
what your strategy is.
Well, I'm smoking more and enjoying it less. Seriously, when I've been home with everything going on, my inner handyman comes out, which is not a good thing.
Oh, not a good thing.
I'm as handy as the left-handed monkey wrench. I have, like, we had leaks in the ceiling. I had to figure out how to fix those. So I spend a lot of time on Google doing that. But like research, writing, what are words? What are books? I don't have a clue how that works anymore. But like you say, just I try to change up my routine, but B, I'm such a creature of habit. That's one of my coping skills for everything else that goes on, that the more I change my routine, the more stressed I get. So it's, I spend a lot of time worrying about other people. That's kind of the best way I cope with. I worry about social media friends, family, just other folks to see if they're okay. And then if they're okay, then I'm all right too. So I'm probably the most unhealthy coper in the group right now. So, but I'm getting through like everybody else. I'm one day after another.
Yeah, I really resonated with what Tamsin said about having to give yourself and just tell yourself that good enough is okay. And that if it doesn't have to be what my daily average used to be, because it's not, now isn't then. And that's hard. That's really hard when you're a productivity person, kind of maybe sort of a little type A around the edges, kind of. Yeah, big time. That's really hard to back off from and go, good enough's going to have to be good enough, and we'll just keep plugging, and having to kind of switch up some of my writing where if working, and that's usually my go-to, then all right, let's enhance this section and see how it turns out. And it might mean I have to do more edits, but at least we'll get through the chapter. And so just sort of like nowadays when you order your groceries and you can't get the brand you always had before. So if you want tomatoes, you have to get the brand that they have, even if it's not the brand that you always got. Just kind of being willing to go with the flow. That's hard. How about you, Nancy?
I find myself spacing out a lot. I'm on the opposite end of where Tamsin and Darin are, because I'm trying to start a series to launch in the new year. And so right out of the gate, you want it to be engaging and you want it to be solid, and it's historical fantasy. So the time period needs to be right. And I've written a book in this period, but I published it first 5 years ago, and I haven't looked at this era since then. So I tell myself I need to read this book just to it's a good survey book, just get my head back into it. So far, I've read 90 pages. I've been at this a week. So I find myself playing Bejeweled a lot. I have it on my tablet. And so I'll start it in the morning, and suddenly I realize I've been playing Bejeweled for 45 minutes, which is okay for escapism for 45 minutes, but it accomplishes nothing. And so I've just kind of had to cut myself some slack about that. And I find myself reading books I already know I love, because they're not going to upset me. They're not going to make me worry about the characters, because I already know how this is going to come out. And I think on balance, that's a better form of escapism than playing Bejeweled for 45 minutes, probably.
I think that Audible loves the fact that I have spent, I don't even want to know how much money since this all started. And I too was buying things where I know my main characters are safe, because I don't want to worry about, I don't want to listen to that. I want to go into that world and know that I'm in a safe space. So I ended up buying every single one of the audio books for the In Death series by J.D. Robb, which is Nora Roberts.
I love that.
And I love it, and it's fun. And when they were done, I was like, well, now what do I do? So I'm now going through all of Faith's books that I've already read. So I'm doing this because I know, so same idea. Yeah. But I've spent tons of money and I return nothing.
Thank you.
How about you, Darin?
I find myself rereading nonfiction that I've already read 3 or 4 times, but it's like the encyclopedia of flowering plants in eastern United States and stuff. It's just it occupies the mind, but not enough to trigger worry or anything. So that
See, I've
seems
been
the
I've
happy
been
place.
binge reading.
You can borrow this.
I
So,
think I've got that one already. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I have that left over from plant taxonomy at Wake Forest.
got mine in a book sale for a quarter. So yeah, I dig it.
I'm sure I paid $1 gazillion at Wake for that thing.
I'm sure.
How about you, Darin? Your cheer up things, or the way you're adjusting your schedule to kind of cut yourself some slack?
Honestly, sleeping in on the weekends. My first patient that I have to call is at 7:40 in the morning. So sometimes I will call my 7:40 patient the day before. And then during my 7:40 patient, I will go to Starbucks or Caribou and get my large caramel goodness that will empower me through the morning thing. And then I will go and obtain lunch, and I make sure and leave the house so that I'm not sitting in this chair at least for 20 minutes during the day. On days that I actually go to clinic, I make sure to go eat lunch with one of my buddies that I don't see them the rest of the week because I'm literally sitting here. I've been writing, I've been doing a lot of yard work, like I said, watching birds. The fun one this past week was the pigeons and the birds and the squirrels were all hanging out, and all of a sudden a hawk landed like right in the center of all of them in an effort to get breakfast. This was like at 7:30 in the morning. After he didn't get anything, he just sat there for about a minute and looked very disappointed and kind of like stared in the window at me. And I was like, sorry, dude. And then he eventually just flew away. But it sounds pretty dull, but I have changed my routine to a new routine and it's working for me. I never dreamed I would be a telephone doctor. That's never done that before. Now it's 80% of what I do. I don't know if that answered the question, but that's a brief summary of my life right now.
It does. I mean, I know one of the things I always enjoyed about the days I was home in the old world was that I really, unless I had a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or something like that, I usually didn't have particular structure to the days of the week if I wasn't at a con on panels. And since we've been home, I've found that I structure. On Monday nights, I do a watch party with my supernatural group. On Tuesday morning, I cut a video for my other group. On Wednesday, we the management group for this convention. I now have stuff in place that kind of marks the passage of the week. I always really avoided that before, but now it sort of keeps it from being one giant blob of grayness. And that sort of surprised me, but it seems to be kind of working. So I guess if you feel like you're drifting, create some structure for yourself. If there isn't structure imposed on you from out, if that helps, make you feel like there's some I don't know, some degree of control. What do you do on bad days? What do you do when it's gray and rainy outside and, your computer isn't cooperating and the dog threw up in the hallway and, it's just not working out to be a good day? How do you get yourself back on track? Theresa?
Getting myself
Callie,
back.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, all of y'all know, and I'm pretty sure most of the people who are going to see this know, Alexander Christians, my father-in-law's dad, passed away in September. And we had not seen him since March with everything going on. And he passed on a Friday, and that Saturday we spent running around taking care of arrangements. And I put her in the car and we just went for a ride. And we wound up in Toccoa, Georgia, which is about 3 hours from our house. And we both looked at each other and were like, it was like a talking head song. How did we get here? Because it was literally, you know, left turn, right turn, go straight. And we've done that more than once. It's just, let's get in the car. We'll go see, look at something different. We won't deal with anybody, you know. But we've done that. We've actually done a full day in the car where it's just been the two of us. We talk about our weeks and different things on the weekends. And I mean, thankfully gas isn't $10 a gallon, but it's still, I mean, it helps. I mean, it just kind of resets your brain a little bit, and you can come back and face whatever fresh hell this week's going to bring you. I mean, you just have to be ready.
Yeah.
Theresa.
As
Back to
far as,
Theresa.
yeah, as far as what I do for the reset, you know, when it's a bad day, sometimes you just have to acknowledge that today's not going to be your day. Take a nap, go get in the shower, have something to eat, get a glass of water. And, you know, if you get through all of that and you still feel crappy and you still can't get motivated, then find something that you know you're going to love, whether it's a book you've read 1,000 times or a movie that you've watched 1,000,000 times and you know by heart, and just allow yourself to enjoy it, because you know what? You can start over tomorrow. And or, you know, if you feel like you need to be productive, find the smallest possible thing that you can do that will take the least amount of energy from you and go do it. You know, if it's, you know, dropping a letter in the mail or a card for somebody's birthday or something like that, or if it's reaching out to a friend to say, hey, today sucks, let's talk about something different. You know, whatever it takes, just be forgiving and be gentle with yourself, because nobody's been through this, not in our lifetime, and it's not worth stressing yourself out, because I mean, hey, that just means you're probably more likely to get sick. So take it one day at a time, do the best you can, and be satisfied with doing the best that you can, even if that's not up to your usual standards. Some of the things that we've done in the past, you know, look for opportunities to have those small pleasures. Like if you're quarantining and it's a rough day, but Starbucks makes you happy, go find a Starbucks drive-through and get a peppermint mocha, because that's my drink. Or, you know, go get takeout or do curbside somewhere, something small that can feel like a reward or a change of pace. Another thing that works for me personally on the capitalist side of life, notebooks and pens. I discovered fountain pens and Archer and Olive notebooks, and these are very bad things for my bank account, but they make me very happy. So I call it also enabling my writing. Find the little things that make you smile, that get you through, and whatever that is, just go for it and don't let anybody let you feel guilty about it.
Tamsin?
See what I do when the day is bad. So in the position I hold, we have an admin phone. We have a cell phone that each of us hold for a week, and then a hands off. And that means you're basically on call all weekend, all week. So even though you finish your day, you then are still on for emergencies that any doctors might have, or if they don't show up on friggin' Thanksgiving to the shift they're supposed to be on, you have to call them and go, hey, where are you at? And I had it over Thanksgiving, and it was really hard. And my mom was here, so that helped a little bit with really separating it. But my weeks are really hectic because I've got over 300 providers that depend on me. And so when the day is really, really bad, I literally, one of my coworkers and I will just vent. She'll say, hey, you need it. She'll hear it in my voice in the morning meeting, and we'll hang up and my thing rings, and she's like, talk it out. And so Tammy and I've really been there to help each other out with that. And that's really helped me reset a little bit, is that I get it out. And I can move. I've also started trying to set up Zoom meetings with friends and do some writing while I'm on Zoom and just invite people to join me so that I can see some friends and do my writing and people can join me. That kind of helped me on Sunday when I was feeling kind of blah. I like to put a fire in the fireplace. For some reason, that just kind of helps settle me. And so I'll sit by the fire and I'll cook a nice meal, and I'll just, if the day's been bad, I just try to get really creative, and I sit and I'll watch something on TV that makes me happy. And right now I love The Masked Singer. I can't wait for The Masked Dancer to start. These silly things make me relax in the evening. And so I'll just watch those and just try to calm everything down before I go to bed if I can. And yeah, I've also been letting myself sleep whenever I feel like it. So if I want to take a nap, if I want to curl up on the couch, instead of telling myself, no, you should be productive, I'm like, no, you should sleep. If you want to sleep, you need to sleep. So yeah, for me, it's just finding something that I, again, like I said, that I can control, or finding something that lets my mind relax. And that's, or venting a problem with a friend. And those are kind of the three key things that I've been using.
Well, and
Yeah.
one thing I will throw in there too, sometimes profanity offers a relief not found in prayer, because there have been days I've had bad days at work. The one guy comes in, doesn't want to wear a mask. The boss is being a boss and all that. 5:30, many a time you'll hear me in my car let him loose with a string of profanity that would make John Hartnett blush. And after about 5 minutes, I'm good. But if the day's really bad enough, I have to have my 5 minutes. And if you're in the way, you'll get 5 minutes worth. But give me my 5 minutes and I come home and I'm fine. But there've been a bunch of days that I've used to F-bomb at every part of speech, including the period and the commas. So, and then I'm good.
How about the brackets?
Parentheses are better. Yeah, parentheses work better.
Oh, cool.
It's one of those words that's easier to say in like a cursive than that hard angular kind of thing.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's not necessarily healthy coping, but it does feel. Because we all just get so fed up and angry and stuff. And it's just good to just damn it, one good time, and then you can move on, because we all had those a couple of days like that so far every week this year.
So Theresa, you F-bomb in italics, is that what you're saying?
Depends on the day. We watched Love Actually while we were decorating the Christmas tree, and that moment where Billy Mack has realized that he has missung the lyrics yet again and lets off this beautiful stream of profanity. I sat there and I giggled. I'm like, I need to remember that and actually use it.
That's a brilliant delivery too.
Yes.
One of my providers today, when she was discussing things, we were on this kind of topic, and she sent me a word that I had to go look up, and I don't think I can say it properly. Lalochizia, L-A-L-O-C-H-E-Z-I-A, and I looked it up, and it says the use of vulgar or foul language to relieve stress or pain.
Real thing.
Yep, and I was like, oh, look, my job has a definition.
Yeah.
Why are you over there being all like, I am practicing Lalochizia?
Right, I should.
It's right here on the phone, man.
I have a potty mouth, damn it. That's just mine.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, if they know that what's
I found
really
that helps a lot. I was gonna say, I found that hugging dog helps a lot on a bad day.
Oh
Because
yeah.
they always hug
Yeah.
you back and they never have a bad.
Oh yeah, my dog has started snuggling with me in the mornings, and it's the best.
We have a dog whose day is made by leaving our property. I mean, you hook her up to a leash, and a couple of years ago, I got a raincoat, and y'all have seen me, so you know I'm fairly tall. So getting a raincoat with really good coverage is an accomplishment. And it comes to like 6 inches above my ankles, and it's got an adjustable hood. And I hook her up, and she is so happy that it's hard to trail along behind her watching all that happiness and not feel a little bit better, you know, when she stops and I have to get out the poop bag. That's kind of is a hitch in the happy moment. But you know, that doesn't.
And most recently, the Queen's Gambit, which was awesome. Whenever I'm having a bad, it's like, oh, I guess I'm watching 5 episodes of the Queen's Gambit today. Click. And so don't have a whole lot more to add. I'll do a lot of the same things. I have done more Zoom calls by about a couple degrees of magnitude in 2020 that I had done in my entire previous life. I have a regular Wednesday night, Friday night, and Sunday night group for various things. And I would say I attend most of those pretty regularly. Some nights, you know, I've got something else going on, but most of the time, that's where you'll find me, is either a large or a small group on Wednesday night. The Multiverse group has got a group that goes every Friday night. If you ever want to drop by, that's usually a lot of fun. It's either extremely deep and philosophical, or we talk about potatoes. It's one or the other. And then Sunday night, Vanessa Guentes started the Writers Tribe. And for an hour and a half, we pick a topic about writing and we discuss it. And so that's what I was doing a couple nights ago. So that's actually been helping me get through quite a bit.
I want to do that.
Look it up. It's the Writers Tribe. Just join up and just click on the Zoom. Sunday nights, 7 Eastern, which would be what, 5 for you, or 4? I forget.
I'm 2 hours behind you.
It'd be 5 o'clock on Sunday nights for 5 to 6:30.
Well, I actually have one thing to add that I do and I used to just do it when I got stuck on a story, but now I do it when the days are bad. And that is, I work jigsaw puzzles, because you have to kind of focus on the puzzle. And by the time you work on that for like a half an hour, unless you have picked a puzzle that is impossibly hard, you have pieces fitted together and you have actually accomplished something. So, you know, it's not words on the page, but I've done something. And I take up the end of the dining room table, and it takes me anywhere from, you know, 4 or 5 days to a week, depending on how hard the puzzle is. And it's a distraction. And there's something about sitting down with the puzzle that makes story concepts start turning. And so it helps me work out plot issues, and it gives me a sense of, see, I did that. I got this whole corner of this castle put together. Yay me. And so that kind of helps, you know.
Yard work and mowing especially is a brainless task that still requires focus, but it requires a different focus. And I'll sometimes go work out story ideas in the yard, you know, raking or mowing or something like that, because it uses a different part of your brain, but it lets the rest of your brain make connections. So I do that outside and you do it inside. Pretty cool.
For me, it's showering or driving. That's when, if I can do either one of those things, inevitably I will have some kind of idea that either has me running across the house looking for a notebook while dripping water, or pulling off to the side of the road to scribble something on, you know, a receipt that's been flying around the car.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed too is a friend of mine from Roanoke has started a online D&D game, and there's something to be said if for a bad week you hop up on a Thursday and all of a sudden, today we're hack and slashing, we're killing 50 goblins. Great, but where's my axe at? And let's go to town. And that's something I never would have even thought that an online D&D game would work before COVID, but I've enjoyed it. I mean, it helps.
Awesome. Well, folks, we have actually run through our time. Thank you so much for being here and for talking about all this stuff, which hopefully will be of help to those folks who are listening. But before we go, let's give everybody a chance to say where they can find you online. Nancy?
You can find me at nancynorthcott.com. I'm on Facebook occasionally as Nancy Northcott Author, and I spend far too much time on Twitter, where I'm at Nancy Northcott.
Cool. Darin?
My website's darinkennedy.com. If you want to hear what I'm thinking about, check me out on Facebook. If you want to see stuff forwarded from other places, look for me on Twitter, but I can't stand Twitter. And if you want to see cool nature pictures, I've sort of turned into, I forgot to say, I've also turned into a little bit of a nature photographer this year. And that's what my Instagram is, either book stuff or nature stuff. That's where you can find me.
Theresa.
The best place to find my books, the newest of which is Blood Moon Over Bourbon Street, is at falstaffbooks.com. I actually write my Monster Hunter dealing with mental health stuff, so that might be kind of tangential to this conversation. And you can also find me on Facebook as Theresa Glover. I'm on Twitter also as Theresa Glover. My handle is at Scorpio1678. You can find me on ConTinual even, or Authors Essentials, all these lovely places. And if you're down to listen to some silly shenanigans, I'm also part of the Calamity Janes episodes on the Authors and Dragons podcast.
Nice. Tamsin.
You can find me at tamsinsilver.com. And you can also, I'm on Facebook. I sadly, with the day job and everything else, I really have time for one social thing, and I use Facebook. And I'm Tamsin Silver there as well. And if you want to follow along with The Curse of Billy the Kid and the other books coming out in that series, I actually have a book page for it on Facebook under The Curse of Billy the Kid, or you can always look up Billy the Kid Rides Again.
Nice. Tally?
I'm on Facebook mainly, Tally Johnson. Got an Instagram, I think it's SC Ghost Talker, and I have a Wix website that's 100 miles long that I'm not going to fool with, and you get the books at Amazon, Perspective Press, and Falstaff Books.
I'm on Facebook as Gail Z Martin. You can find my groups at Shadow Alliance for the Gail and Larry stuff, and Worlds of Morgan Bryce for that stuff. I'm at Gail Z Martin on Twitter and at Morgan Bryce Book. And otherwise, it's gailzmartin.com and morganbryce.com. Pretty easy to find, and I'm most of the time here on ConTinual. Well, folks, thank you again so much for being with us tonight, and thank you for watching and hanging out with us. If you like what you've seen, please like, forward, share, and comment, and we'll see you here in ConTinual for a lot more geeky fun. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.